All right. Everybody, welcome back, Mr. Rex Foster.
Well, I am really, really happy about tonight. This is. Oh, that's right. It's.
Plug it in.
Oh, gotta be plugged in again.
I'll do all that stuff again.
Yeah,
Did you undo this, Randy?
I did. I'm the culprit.
You're the okay. Well, I'll blame you then. This time, last time was on me.
Has the box plugged in?
Yes, the box is plugged in.
There you go.
You got a signal?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That must be your guitar.
Well,
now you gotta unplug the.
I got to unplug again because I have to put my strap on.
Go ahead.
Oh, details.
Randy could screw up a 2-car funeral.
Yes. And I usually go strapless, you know.
Especially if he forgets his jumper cables.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me know, Randy.
I just knew you'd always work.
Okay. You got a signal?
Oh yeah, I do.
Okay. I've never fiddled around so much before a set in my life. This really is like being around the kitchen table. Hey, I want another cup of coffee. Okay. So, this is a song that actually got culled and not put on the new record that should have been, but I like releasing albums that only have maximum of 10 songs on them. You know, I don't know about y'all, but even my best friends, when they do a 13 or 14 song album, I want to slap them. Love you, John M's. Yeah, love you, Dana, but no. I hope he doesn't watch this. He'll be all upset at me. Yeah, no. Anyway, this is a song called One Thing in Common, and y'all can place the answer, I guess, to this in your own heart. Got my dog here at my feet. He's my buddy, what a friend can be. He ain't got no judgments, he sticks by me. He lives in the moment and teaches me. When a friend calls with her heart in need, I open my ears and let her bleed. 'Cause I don't know nothing about anybody else. Best I can do is share myself. We got one thing in common, you know what it is. It's what we talk about and try to live. A bag lady on the corner, holding out her hand. She says, I'm hungry. Hey, I can understand. So I take her hand and we walk down the street, find a little cafe and get something to eat. 'Cause we got one thing in common, you know what it is. It's what we talk about and try to live. love a woman here, I love a woman over there, another one around the world, and we all care. Yeah, they like to talk, they're always on the phone. They talk about love, can't leave each other alone. 'Cause we got one thing in common, and you know what it is. It's what we talk about and try to live. We got one thing in common, and you know what it is. It's what we talk about and try to live. We got one thing in common, and you know what it is. Yeah, you do. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, they'd only let me put one finger picking song on that album. So, did a song for Townes Van Zandt, who was a friend of mine. Y'all know who Townes was, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And I kind of waited for a while because everybody's brother was writing a Townes song after he passed, and he and I had a special relationship because I met him. Well, actually, the first time I met him was when we had the fundraiser for my hospital bill when I got out of the state. Well, actually, the hospital bill was for the 7 days in intensive care that I was at when I quit drinking, and so I had a big hospital bill, and all my buddies, of which John Arnold was one, threw a big fundraiser for me with lots of kegs of beer, if I remember correctly, and lots of good barbecue. And so there's this rehab center over not where I was, but there is a rehab center close to my little town of Comfort where we were having this fundraiser, and there were bands coming in from all over that were wanting to donate their time and come and play the gig for raising money for me, you know. And God bless them all. And so over at this rehab place in Center Point, it's called Starlight, and and Townes was literally in the rehab, and so when he heard about this, he said he went to the head of this thing and said, "Can I put a band together with some of the musicians that are in rehab?" and go play for Rex, and
it's verdad. It is the truth.
This is a true story. And so he got a couple of guys together, 2 or 3 guys together from the rehab, put together this thing, and got the rehab center to actually drive them over in the van, right, to this fundraiser for this drunk that was just coming out of dying from alcoholism, and he called his little group Townes Van Zandt and the Starlight Drifters. And I got to say that at that point I didn't know who Townes Van Zandt was. This was in 1982, and I had no idea who Townes was. He'd been playing and writing, and you know, a lot of people knew who he was. He just wasn't on my radar. And but I guess I was on his radar because he very graciously put together the Starlight Drifters and came over. So we got to be friends though for many, many years. And my relationship with him was we played music together and stuff and did gigs together. But he was always, working with me and trying to stay sober. He just really couldn't quite get there. He'd stay sober for a while, and then he couldn't stay. And so I wrote this song. It was a year or so after he'd passed, but he was in such bad shape when he finally went. Anyway, one of the things that, aside from being a good old drinker, he was also a gambler. He was, he would gamble anytime, anywhere, for anything, and he would actually get people to go out back behind, say, the place I remember mostly seeing him do this was at Leon Springs Cafe outside of San Antonio. And we'd play gigs there, and he'd get the cook to go out back, or the dishwashers go out back and pitch pennies against the wall. It's a kid's game.
Yeah.
But he'd gamble. Okay, let's see who can get the penny closest to the wall.
Oh, wow.
And he'd gamble his shirt away. He'd gamble all the money that he made that night. And of course he was supposed to be on stage. He was out there gambling, pitching pennies. So. They'd line up all night waiting for his songs. Then they'd wonder what went wrong. I'd find him out back with the sound man pitching coins. I don't know if he thought he could ever win. He'd stare into the distance, he could see the end, kneeling there needing a coat from the cold. He'd shake that coin in the palm of his hand, cock his head and listen to the wind for a voice to tell him which way to go. But you could always find him out back behind the bar, hanging out with the bouncer, pitching pennies against the wall. He'd bet $100 or he'd bet a dime, but it really didn't matter. He was running out of time, pitching pennies against the wall, pitching pennies against the wall. He never got away from the devil's lair, got lost in Tecumseh or Raton somewhere, took a back seat to the chance he could ever win. He was a poet king for too many men. They bought him drinks right up to the end, kept him in a crowd at the end of the bar. And he lasted longer than I'd have believed. Now his loving heart finally gave reprieve. He's pitching coins against the clouds. But you could always find him out back behind the bar, hanging out with the cook, pitching pennies against the wall. He'd bet $100 or he'd bet a dime, but it really didn't matter. He was running out of time. He'd bet $100 or he'd bet a dime, but it really didn't matter. He was losing time, pitching pennies against the wall, pitching pennies against the wall, pitching pennies against the wall, pitching pennies.
Hey, Randy. Randy Treadway?
He's in the. I see him back in the kitchen.
Okay. Well, normally he makes this announcement, but since he's not in here right now, I will. The way that we keep these artists coming back to us and playing for us is you guys. We ask that you tip the most that you possibly can. There's a tip bucket right there, and we want to get Rex back home with some gas money, don't we?
Truly. Yeah.
And he has CDs and great jewelry.
Yeah.
You're prejudiced, Cherry. Okay. Oh, I've got great. This will be fun. Speaking of stories, I can go into great stories. I'm untuning my guitar, which is a little bizarre, you know. And what happened to me in 1965, I guess, I went out to California because my friend who was going to Caltech at the time, majoring in computer science, 1965.
Wow.
He said I should come out there because there was something he wanted me to do that would change my life. So I left the college I was going to, and I went out there to see what he was talking about. And he gave me Sandoz Pharmaceutical 250 micrograms of LSD. That's the real deal. And I went with him, not the same night, thank God, but I went with him within that trip out there. I went with him over to back in '65 was the sort of the tail end of the beatnik era. Kerouac and all the beatnik guys, Allen Ginsberg and everything, and the beat musicians and so forth. And folk music was really folk music, and so we sought out in Hollywood this coffee house with all these beatniks in it, right? Mm-hmm. We were just young college kids, right? Just
tripping on acid.
Had no idea what we were doing, you know, but so we go in there, and here's this old beatnik guy, and he's playing this custom-made Monarch guitar that and I had just learned how to play guitar like 8 months before that. No, a year before that, and had started writing songs because the second I learned 3 chords, I was writing songs. I mean, it was like that fast, and so I see this guy playing this guitar, and he untunes it. And I'm going, what? Because I'm from Texas. Nobody in Texas ever untunes their guitar, you know. And so he showed me this thing. He untuned his D, his E string, to a D, and then his little E string to a D. And it's got this big sound. It's a big open sound. I was in a mental condition that the bigger the space, the better, you know. And then he started singing. This song and just blew me away. Got a craving in my belly, got a shaking in my head. I feel like I'm dying, and I wish I was dead. If I live till tomorrow, it'll be a long old time. I'll reel and I'll fall, and I'll rise on cold dime. 'Cause it's real God, it's real. Just one more time. When I was just a young boy, my mama, she said to me, when you grow to be a man and you want to stay free, yes, as you roam and you ramble from town to town, stay away from the man carrying the codeine around. 'Cause it's real, God, it's real. Just one more time. Got a craving in my belly, got a shaking in my head. I feel like I'm dying, and I wish I was dead. And if I live till tomorrow, it'll be a long old time. I'll reel and I'll fall, but I'll rise on codeine. 'Cause it's real, God, it's real. Just one more time. Yeah, it's real, God, it's real. Just one more time. So that was a lot of fun, and I bought
Even
the.
more fun when we were drunk.
Yeah, a lot more fun. So I bought the guy's guitar. He was a heroin addict, and he needed money. And so I bought his mono guitar untuned, and I brought it back to Texas. And all my music buddies in Texas, I showed them this untuned guitar, gave them some mind-altering substances, and that was the beginning of my first band called Rachel's Children, which was a 7-piece band, and we played consecutively with the 13th Floor Elevators. Y'all probably have heard of them. I don't know. 13th Floor Elevators, the Conqueroo, that group of people. And Elektra Records, they were just wanting to get into that new psychedelic music era. They didn't really sign anybody yet that was doing the kind of music we were doing. And so our manager, who was friends with Jack Holzman, who owned Elektra, sent him a tape of ours, and he said, God, can those guys really play that music? He said, yeah, there was a one-take tape. We played everything live. And he said, I don't believe you. And so the manager wrote him back and said there's only one way that they could do it. It was a 2-track stereo recorder. It's the only way that we could do it. So the guy says, well, you guys, I've got two groups I'm thinking about assigning to do this new music. And he said, the other group's from up here in New York, though, so, you know. And so the other group happened to be the Doors.
Oh, wow.
So I could have been Jim Morrison.
But then you want to be here.
I wouldn't be here. I'd be buried in Paris.
Yeah.
Which, God bless him. Since I've lived in Paris so much, I hear lots of stories about his last days there, and they were not pretty. And so, anyway, so that's a fun part of my historic story stuff. Randy's, I'm sure, getting off on all this.
No, he will. It'll
We
get
all
off.
are.
Yeah.
But so that was early on, and this untuned guitar thing happened because of this fellow in L.A. And nobody played in tunings. Now everybody plays in tunings, right? So this is a song that's on the new record in this tuning. I set my lodge facing to the east. Sparkling morning fire, let it kiss on my feet. Listen to the eagle as he goes soaring by. He's taking his song way up into the sky, where he can sing it out loud. Yeah, he can sing it out loud. Like the Buddha says, smiling through his grin, nothing to be scared of, there ain't no original sin. Gather in a circle and grab each other's hands. Say a little prayer for our fellow man. We can sing it out loud. We can sing it out loud. We can sing it out loud. Get to feel the way I feel, it's a beautiful thing. To turn our light back on, we can sing. We can sing out loud. We can sing it out loud. We can sing love out loud. We can sing it out loud. Yeah, we can sing love out loud. So see what you can do when you untune your guitar?
Yeah. We all need to take acid first, though. Then we'll be great guitar players.
Guaranteed.
Or we think we were anyway.
Yeah,
Right. The illusion.
I'm perfectly willing.
I'm going to do these songs while I'm in the tuning rather than change the tuning back and forth. So I'm going to do one more in this tuning. get this to work. And I actually created this chord pattern with this tuning sort of by accident. And
You know what, you guys, I want to tell everybody here. Rex told me in there earlier that he had the perfect crowd here tonight. How does that make y'all feel? His exact words. Right?
yes, Randy, that's exactly right. He was talking about the rain and, you know, and things like that. And he was wanting to be apologetic about the crowd tonight, you know, and I'm going, oh, no, Randy, this is the perfect crowd. And I mean that sincerely. I believe in perfection. I think everything is perfect, even the tough stuff. I'll be lighthearted in the middle of darkness, follow my dreams wherever they go, and I will hold on whenever I'm falling. I won't slip up in the middle of the night. Turn the page, look inside the Milky Way. A message left there from heaven. Pay attention, for goodness sake. I've been running inside the wind like a dervish, spinning and spinning. I drop my head, complete exhaustion, and that's when God says, hey Bubba, come on in. Turn the page, look inside of my soul. Ain't no place left to run to, ain't no place left to go. Turn the page, look inside the Milky Way. A message left there from heaven. Pay attention, for goodness sake. Pay attention, just in case.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. I was out in Jackson Hole when I wrote that song, and my wife wasn't in the house.
That's really cool.
Yeah, she was the same. Oh, Lord. She actually, she had flown home. Then I was still in the house. We have these friends who loan us their home. They have a second or a third home in Jackson, and they never use it. And I've got the key. Yeah. It's a
Lovely place.
It's a great place, and this house is very. It's below the airport, down by the Snake, and there's this little community of these big homes down there, bear and elk. I mean, we've had huge herds of elk right in the backyard.
Wow.
The big old boys cracking each other, you know. But a woman there is a major photographer and an artist, and we met her at the art show there in Jackson, where I show my jewelry a lot of times, and she asked me if I wanted to go out with her. She was teaching a class of people on how to shoot time-lapse photography at night, and they were going to go out where it was way out from town, so there was no light pollution. And so you could see, it was a Milky Way night, and you could just see this Milky Way, like, whoa. And they wanted to use me as a model to stand in front of this old wooden cross fence line, that was out there, and do this shot, and they would shine a flashlight on me for like 30 seconds, and the camera would catch that, but then they'd turn the light off, but the camera would stay open to keep catching the Milky Way. So the great picture. But I was out there staring at the Milky Way while they were doing all this, right? Being the model. And so it was such a stunning experience that the next day I got up and had my cup of coffee and started playing this funny tuning, and that song came about. Just there it was, and really.
Use the picture for an album cover yet?
No, but I do. The picture is one of the pictures on the whatever they call it. That's on one of my websites. One of the Facebook pages, I think. I don't know which one, but.
I'm just gonna check it out.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous picture, and quite an experience. Oh, and the other thing was, did y'all ever see the movie Shane?
Yeah.
Long time. Was that Alan Ladd? Alan Ladd. When I was a little boy, I saw that the first time, and it just tore me up. And I just loved that movie. It was one that stuck with me. Come back, Shane. Right, exactly. Just I was that kid's age. You can imagine what that does to a boy. And so this place we went out to outside of Jackson was was the set of the homestead that the family lived in, that Shane hung out with and got in touch with these people, and then he went to town. But that location was this place where we were. Flipped me out, and I was in the spot where that movie was made. Really special. So this is the other side of having to untune your guitar, is having to tune your guitar. I think we're doing pretty good here. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. The deep green river, licking at the moss-covered clay, slipping through like lime green honey to a place around the bend and never end. Sit on a sun-warm breathing stone with a big red sun going down. Watch its trail on a glassy ripple race that lets a light begin and come again. Yeah, come on. Feel the pull of the river flow and listen to the way it doesn't make a sound, and hover like a dragonfly on a beam from another realm Tell me that you never heard of Dr. Comfort's slippery elm, slippery elm. Dr. Comfort's slippery elm. You feel the pull of the river flow and listen to the way it doesn't make a sound. Then hover like a dragonfly on a beam from another realm. Tell me that you never heard of Dr. Comfort's slippery elm, slippery elm. Dr. Comfort's slippery elm, slippery elm. Slip, slip, slippery, slip, slip, slippery, slip, slip, slippery, yeah. Yeah, that's a good song to just sort of. Yeah, I wrote that. Will wrote that. We were together. We were going down to the river. This was back a long time ago. And Dr. Comfort, of course, I'm from Comfort, so you can guess where that comes from. Yeah, too funny. So we'll jump forward here to work with Peter Rowland a lot. It's a good friend of mine I've known since '72. And do y'all know who Peter Rowland is by any chance? Some people don't. He's one of those kind of enigmas in the music industry, and that most everybody in the songwriter world in the music industry knows who Peter Rowland is. But so many people in general public don't know who he is. And he's huge in the bluegrass world, and that's a very closed circuit, you know, because he worked with Bill Monroe. He was one of Bill Monroe's favorite guys. But anyway, so Peter Rowland and I have worked together off and on for years, and really good friend of mine. And he's produced and I co-write with him, so a lot of my songs are influenced with Peter's talents. This is on an album that he produced called Extra Mile, which is out there. Well, come on now. I got this on here right? Okay. Won't you come around tonight, little darling? Lay your sweet lips on mine. You've been hiding out in the shadows. Yeah, come let it all shine. I gotta tell you a secret. I don't like it at all. Rolling over in the morning, waking up all alone. You're slipping by, all dimples and smiles. You walk to your own time, I go that extra mile. The story you bring around, little darling, is wrapped up in your eyes. You don't need no declaration. You don't need no alibi for love in such measure. You gotta let it go, 'cause one too many kisses, our cup overflows. You're spinning by, all dimples and smiles. You walk to your own time, I go that extra mile. You're spinning by, you're spinning by, yeah, you're spinning by. I'll go that extra mile. Thanks. That's as close to a pop song as I think I've ever written. I mean, come on, the word dimples. But, you know, gotta write a little everything. Oh my. So, I'm gonna try this song. I hope I can play it. Let's see. No, I think I did it up here. This, again, true story. I do write. And when I write pretty much all the time out of experience and out of my own life and my own stumbling through the universe. And a lot of them are real close to true stories. You know, almost balladesque. And this one's kind of balladesque. It's about the fellow that taught me how to shoot pool and gamble and drink beer. He was a little fellow, little Mexican fellow, about that big. But boy, could he shoot pool. See if I can remember. If I make a mistake, y'all don't get mad at me now. When I was a kid, he ran the pool hall. A two-table joint down the road. VFW on the window. A rack of crooked sticks on the wall. He was my childhood hero. Could shoot a stick sure as hell. He chased me around that old 8-ball till I learned the game pretty damn well. And there was a way about his teaching without saying a word. He'd pay the dollar that he'd bet me to let me know I was good. But a voice was always saying, son, you're gonna have to change. You can't keep up all this playing. Gotta quit someday. off to college. Books got paid when I'd win, but I learned how to read folks, how to beat 'em again and again. Became a hustler and a drinker. Death always close around. Day came to meet my maker, but he chased me back down. And a voice was always saying, son, you're gonna have to change. You can't keep up all this playing. Gotta quit someday. Then I saw him out on the road. In each hand he held a cane. His feet shuffle like an old man. They say the booze got his brain. Sitting here talking to my demons, watching him get across that road. I say, hey boys, can't you see him? There but for the grace I go. There but for the grace I go. Well, I only fumbled a few things, but kind of got the story across anyway. It was really tough watching him at the end, because that's at the end of drinking is a thing. If you don't die or you don't end up in prison, you get wet brain, which is it's like you can't come back from the last drunk kind of thing. I don't know, how would you explain wet brain? But one of the conditions of wet brain is shuffling. You see people that shuffle. They're not always wet brain, but when I was in the hospital, I was asking the guy I was counseling with that I saw these guys going to the lunchroom. They had a different time slot than we did to go eat lunch, and they all shuffled. They had this little shuffle that they did. And I said, what's with these guys and their shuffling? And he said, oh, those are wet brains. I was in a mental institution, was where my rehab was. And he said, those are wet brains. And I said, what's that? And he said, that's where you'll get if you want to go back out and drink again. And I went, ooh, I think maybe I don't want to do that. Yeah, he said, that's if you don't die, that's what happens. And wow, it really got my attention. And then I see this idol of mine that taught me how to shoot pool, and I come back from traveling the world, and I come back and I see this little guy shuffling across this highway, just like it, very slow pace with canes. And it just really, it slapped me upside the head, and I went home and wrote that song. I'm doing, and I don't normally do that song. So what I need to say is that I'm playing a couple of songs now that I wouldn't normally play for an audience. But you guys, I've got you trapped. I'm no fool. But also because we're doing 2 sets, which I don't normally do, and we're just really settled in. I can do some songs that are my favorite songs that I don't normally, get to perform out. And my wife never wants to hear them. So.
And she didn't come.
She didn't come. She never comes. I don't think she's come to a gig in I don't know how long. She doesn't mind me teasing about her. She's quite happy at home now with her pit bulls, and we have 7 acres with this land outside of Comfort, and basically is the hill I grew up on. My folks had a ranch right next door to it, which we don't have anymore. But so this is like really home, and I have 2 buses that are from my past, right? Well, we couldn't get rid of the buses, of course, so they're stuck into the back here, and she's taken the most recent one, and we're making a bus camp, which is kind of like it would be a hippie bed and breakfast. I mean, she's really fixing it up nice inside. We totally gutted it, and she's putting in these parquet floors and a custom artistic kitchen, and just really doing a number on this school bus, for God's sake. And so she's having a great time. She loves doing it, and I just go, yes, dear. Yes, dear. What should I do here, Rex? Well, whatever you think,
Smart man.
Oh, yeah. John knows Kelly really well.
Yeah.
Remember this song? Walking the streets of New York town, remembering dreams I never wrote down, about the days you took care of me, when I was crazy as a boy could be. Trade the shirt right off my skin, if I could feel your love again. I'd walk the road away from hell, if I could be in your heaven. You said, give it away, give it away, give the fears away. You said, give it away, give it away, give the love away. Going back inside the shell, hiding fear from myself. It doesn't work, no, it never did. Something I did when I was just a kid. Loved you then as I do now, in dreams of yesterday. I see your face in memory, and I hear you say, you said, give it away, give it away, give the fears away. You said, give it away, said, give your love away.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
I really like that one.
Good. Yeah, it's a good song. I like it. It's just not one that's that's kind of out there. But also, so many good songs slip through the cracks because what's new is what takes precedence when I'm putting a set list together.
Right.
But a lot of them, and some of them literally get left behind so far that I forget how to play them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I like to keep some of these really favorite ones of mine. I like to keep them up and alive because I'll forget how to play them, and then they really disappear. I've got hundreds of songs that are just gone. It's kind of sad. But a lot of them are recorded, though. That's the important thing. Mm-hmm. I just can't play them. So.
Do you remember Good Song?
Oh, God, no. Wait. Good. This is a good song to do when I just can't sing no more? It's a great song. Oh, God, how do I do that song?
More fun.
Oh, it's a different finger picking, too. It's this finger picking.
Yeah.
Well, this is a good song to do when I just can't sing no more. Oh, yeah. It's a good one for me and Jerry. This is Jerry Jeff, right? It's a good one for me and Jerry late at night, sitting on Hondo's porch. 'Cause our voices, they've been snorted, drunk down in the bottle, staying up all night, darling, waiting for you. Well, it's a good one because I can make up rhymes off the top of my head. It's a good one for Jerry, too, because he can make up rhymes to tell me what I just said. And our voices, they've been snorted and drunk down in the bottle, staying up all night, darling, waiting for you. Oh, yeah, no, and then it repeats. Then it says, staying up all night, little darling, waiting for a song. Thank you, John. Wow.
Lukenbach and shared that house with Jerry right behind the store.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, Jerry and I were at the home ranch. Do y'all know who Hondo Crouch was?
Yeah.
Hondo Crouch bought Lukenbach.
He's a guy that owned Lukenbach, Texas, when Jerry Jeff Walker did the Viva Terlingua album.
Yeah. Y'all know who Jerry Jeff Walker is? Okay. So Jerry he idolized Hondo. Well, Hondo was like my surrogate father.
Yeah.
I grew up with Hondo in my house all the time because
he was your dad's best friend.
He and my dad were best friends, and my mom too. In fact, I think maybe he had a little crush on my mom. A lot of guys did that I watched come through her because she was a real doll. And anyway, so Hondo was always in my house, and I mean, he was my best man at my one and only wedding, and so I knew Hondo was, like I say, he was like a surrogate father to me. And then Jerry Jeff came along, so I was there when Hondo bought Lukenbach. I'd just come back from Europe with this album, and back then, it's in '69. If you had a record deal and you had somebody that would actually put out a record, that was hot shit. I'll tell you what. You were big stuff if that was happening. I mean, that's why Steve Earle started following me around, because I had made a real record,
Yeah.
and so I went up to Lukenbach. Well, came home, and my dad says Hondo just bought a town. I went up, of course he did. And so we ran over there, and he had just bought it. I mean, it was 6 months maybe that he had it. And I went in with my guitar, and I was the first long-hair songwriting performer to walk into Lukenbach and sit down and play music. Cool. The old Germans were sitting over there playing their dominoes, and Hondo and Dad were singing Mexican songs, because that's what they did. They sang Noche de Ronda, and then I would sing some songs and sing along with them and drink a lot of beer. Lots of beer. Hondo drank lots of beer.
Lone Star.
Ice cold Lone Star beer. And my dad did too. But we did that for a while, like, you know, while I was hanging out, getting reacclimated to being in Texas. And so I started getting my entourage of musician friends started coming up to Luca. I said, hey, there's this really cool town. We can drink our fool heads off, not have to drive. We can camp out. We can crash on the creek. And so I started putting my band together to take to California to promote this album, and hanging out at Lukenbach, and we were playing music out there and camping. We set a teepee up over by the old Cotton Gin, and I asked Hondo if I could use the dance hall, because they weren't using it at all. If I could use the dance hall to rehearse this band to get ready to go to California. He said, yeah, sure, no problem. And so anyway, Jerry Jeff shows up a couple of years later, and I'd come back from California, and Jerry, actually, Hondo had the first Lukenbach World's Fair, and it was the bill for the music for the afternoon was Willie Nelson, Rex Foster, and Jerry Jeff Walker. And actually, Willie was just getting back into town and just starting to get traction, you know, and get some popularity going on back here in his home state. And Willie had opened for me at the Armadillo World's headquarters right after I got back from Europe. I mean, I booked into the Armadillo early. And he hadn't even moved back to Texas yet, I don't think. And I'm standing backstage at the Armadillo going, who's the guy out there playing, man? I've heard all those songs. and Eddie Wilson, who owned and ran the Armadillo, along with a couple other Vulcan Gas Company guys, he said, you don't know who that is, do you? And I have no idea, but I know those songs. He said, that's Willie Nelson. He wrote all those songs. You're kidding me. Wow, and he's opening for me? What? And anyway, so Jerry, that's the beginning of that story of Jerry and I ending up out at Hondo's house and sitting around. I mean, I hung out with Jerry a lot during his early years, but that was one. He loved to go out to Hondo's and just sit around and drink beer late at night, and we'd be up all night singing songs, and that's where that song came from. This is a good song to do when I just can't sing no more. Well, I should wrap this wonderful evening up, you guys.
Oh, no.
Did you catch that, Randy? We want that recorded.
You've got 3 cars behind you, so you better. It sounds like there might be a negotiation going on.
Well, let's see. I'm going to do a song that I wrote for my daughter. It's called Stop Carrying the Stone. And again, all by myself. In Las Vegas, in the middle of a jewelry show, actually, we were at, and Kelly was off working the jewelry show, and I was frustrated. I needed to say something to my daughter, and so this is a song that came out of it. Stop carrying the stone. Don't let it pull you out of time. Don't let it block up your road. Haul it out to the sunshine. Darkness abounds when you hang around, so try real hard to lift your feet up, up off the ground. Take the rope off of that stone, like Prometheus would do. Then fly out to the sun. Never look back, never look back at what's been done. It's about high time. You've been waiting too long. Stop beating around the bush, baby. Yeah. Stop carrying the stone. Take a chisel to that stone. Chip away what you don't need, till the face is one you've known for lifetimes, lifetimes, eternity. Yeah, it's about high time. You've been waiting too long. Stop beating around the bush, baby. Stop carrying the stone. Stop carrying the stone. Stop carrying the stone. Thank you. Thanks, y'all. So, no encores, right?
Sure, yes,
So, Barbara, calm down.
We're believing in you.
Okay. So this is my encore song, and then we will.
You can't have an encore till you have a last song.
Well, that was my last song.
Oh no, you don't get to do it like that.
Oh, I don't.
It's his show. Hello.
Well, okay, then I'm going to do. This is one I wouldn't normally do, but it's such a bizarre song, and it's kind of fun, and it has some twist to it. I will.
I love you.
I love you too, Randy. Well, y'all ride along with this. I guess this is such a nice little group. I'm gonna how can I do this in a short form? About 5 years ago, I had to do a little cancer dance, and I didn't tell Kelly, my wife, about this tumor until I figured I either was going to die or get to do something about it. So through that whole thing, I wrote a few songs that were involved in that, but this was one that is kind of cute. And it's not a true story. It's, like I said, a very eclectic kind of song. He comes down from the mountain to say goodbye to his friends. She steps up beside him, slips into his hands. That night at the campfire, sitting by his side, she picks out his best friend, gives him her come on smile. But little do they know, it don't matter at all. Yeah, little do they know. The last day on his yacht, she's in her bikini skin. Some wise little sailor thinks he can wiggle in. But little does he know, it don't matter at all. Yeah, little does he know. Over at the bank, yeah, to make his wishes be known, that when he's no longer here, give her everything he owns. 'Cause little does she know, it don't matter at all. Yeah, little does she know. Down at the hospital, the doc struts right in. He barely looks at the fellow, then gives his girlfriend the grin. Little does he know, it don't matter at all. Little does he know. Down at the graveyard, his friends stand in confusion while she reads from his headstone. Hey y'all, it's been a grand illusion. Little do you know, it don't matter at all. Yeah, little do you know, it don't matter. It don't matter, it don't matter, it don't matter at all. Oh, okay. Thank y'all.
Wait, encore!
Okay, I'm supposed to walk all the way off stage, but I trip
That's
over
okay.
John. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, all right. I would love to do an encore.
Camera's in the way.
And the camera's in the way. Okay, well, we'll do one more then. And
That's how it works.
that's how it works. Oh, my.
Reno's favorite line in the world.
What's that?
My son Reno,
Yeah.
who is trying to get here before you leave tonight. He's coming in from Denver.
Oh, my God.
But whenever he sees something a little unusual, he'll just go see.
I should have seen it coming. seen it long ago. How I missed it, Lord, I don't know. I should have seen the writing written on the wall. I should have known old Humpty was getting ready to fall, like he does every time. Yes, every time. Talking about, yeah, every time. Say, see those footprints? They look a lot like mine. I guess I've been down this road one too many times. You see this old head of mine, it leads me around and around, and never once does it fail to let me down like it does every time. Yes, every time. And talking about, yeah, every time. Just like the night comes falling from the sky every time. Talk about every time. If I could point a finger, I could point it the other way and say that the fault doesn't lie with me today. And I could say I'm doing just the best as I can. Well, it might be true, still I'm an imperfect man, and I will be every time. Yes, every time. And talking about, yeah, every time. So what I'm saying, it's as simple as can be. We'll all fall short looking at eternity. 'Cause deep down in the heart of a man, if his love it still lives, lies the healing power, the power to forgive, and it works every time, yeah, every time. I'm talking about, yes, every time. Just like the sun comes rising in the sky every time. Talk about every time. Talking about, yeah, every time. Thank you guys. Yay. Thank y'all. Thank you so much. What a wonderful night. I really, really appreciate it. Oh my goodness.
We appreciate you coming to
Thanks,
entertain us.
Oh, my pleasure.